What's good, everybody? So I thought for today's recipe video, let's do something a little bit different. Let's not stick to Indian food, let's not do Chinese. Let's do some kind of a fusion of the two. And Thai seems like the best option. Now, a lot of people in India don't know much about Thai food, but that's okay. The one thing you've got to know is that it's super simple. And it's kind of a combination of Indian-y flavors and Chinese flavors. Okay, but let me get a little bit deeper into it. Okay, so Thai food, the first thing you've got to know is that it's all about balance. It also has a big sweet element, contrary to Chinese food. So Thai food's got a sweet element, a sour element, and a salty element in almost all the dishes. And all the dishes are about a balance between these three elements. Now, if you go too far in one direction, if you make it too sour, too sweet, or too salty, it ruins your dish. So that's the first thing you've got to know about Thai cooking. You've got to maintain that balance. The second thing you've got to know is that Thai cooking is all about the ingredients. Unfortunately, in India, we don't have a lot of the ingredients available. What we do have are the Thai curry pastes. Now, these are easily available in almost every Indian supermarket, and these just have all the standard Thai ingredients crushed into a paste, and that paste can be used in curries. So even if you make a base out of the ingredients that are available and add a bit of this Thai curry paste to your cooking process, it makes the food entirely Thai tasting, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, coming to the actual ingredients that aren't available in India. These are available, but it's kind of hard to source them out. The first of which is fish sauce, something that's used in almost every Thai recipe. Now, this is something like soy sauce, but it's made by fermenting dry fish. So it adds a very, very fishy umami taste to it, and obviously it adds a lot of salt as well. Now, if you can't get your hands on fish sauce, you can substitute it with soy sauce with a little bit of fishy flavor. Remember, if you don't have an ingredient, it's all about recreating that flavor with the ingredients you have. And there's almost no ingredient in the world which you can't recreate in India, thanks to all the things we do have available in this country. Okay, so for fish sauce, you can just take soy sauce, you can take a bit of some kind of fishy flavor like fish broth or prawn broth. The second ingredient that's unfortunately not easily available is something called galangal, which is kind of like Thai ginger. It's just like Indian ginger, but with a bit of a peppery taste. It doesn't taste similar to ginger, but it's in that same family. So you can substitute it with ginger and a bit of pepper, but whatever, that's okay. The third ingredient that's not available easily are kaffir lime leaves. Kaffir lime leaves take the dish in that sour direction. So instead of using those kaffir lime leaves, you can substitute it with a bit of coriander for that grassy leafiness and a bit of lemon juice for that acidity. So this is just an introduction to Thai cooking. Thai cooking gets a little more complex than this, but I just want to put an easy recipe out there. So in today's recipe, we're going to be making prawns cooked in a Thai style, stir-fried prawns. Because I feel like whenever we're talking about Southeast Asian cooking, it's best enjoyed with seafood and seafoody flavors. Now eventually I will be doing chicken curries and Thai style chicken stir-fries. But for today's recipe, I feel like a prawn stir fry is super apt. And remember, if you're not a prawn person, you can substitute it with any protein of your choice. So let's go, baby.
First things first, prawns do not increase your bad cholesterol. That's a misconception that people have. And to be honest, prawns are super low calorie and they actually have a pretty healthy fat profile. Remember, health is all about trying different kinds of foods. But if you're a chicken person, skip the prawns, go with the chicken. Either way, your first job is to get those prawns super clean. So separate the shells, but keep in mind for this particular dish, we're talking about Thai food. And Thai food is all about amped up animal flavors. So we're gonna save the prawn heads and a few of the shells, the cleanest, most whole ones, and use them in today's cooking. And also remember, this is a stir fry. So one very important step while stir frying prawns is that you need to pat them dry. If you don't pat them dry, the moisture is gonna make them steam instead of getting stir fried. So make sure your prawns are dry. Moving on to the ingredients. The first Thai ingredient we're talking about, of course, just like Indian cooking, is ginger and garlic. Now, instead of ginger, they do use galangal, but in this case, we're in India, so we're gonna use ginger and garlic, julienne and sliced up like this, baby. Now, traditional Thai food is actually even spicier than Indian food. So in Thailand, they use this thing called the bird's eye chili, which are just super hot. So in India, the closest thing available are these red chilies. So go with them. If you like your food spicy, you can go with them whole, but trust me, these are really spicy. So what I like doing is slitting them up and just using the bodies. Remember, in chilies, the seeds are where the heat's at. So if you don't like your food spicy, keep the seeds separate. That's what puts your food on fire. But in this case, for flavor and for a bit of heat, we're gonna go with the bodies of the chilies, just like this. Now that black liquid there is fish sauce, which unfortunately is not easily available in India. So we're gonna recreate those flavors using soy sauce, which is available, and the prawn heads that we've separated from the prawn. Now before we use this magnificent sauce, you're gonna have to balance out that fishiness with white vinegar. Regular kitchen vinegar will do the trick. And because we've taken it in that acidic direction, it's time to take it in the sweet direction with good or palm sugar. So crush it really fine. You can go in with about a teaspoon. You just want to balance it out. Moving on to the next ingredient, spring onions, as they're known in India. Just like in Chinese cooking, the heads and the necks are used in the cooking process. And after this point, the bodies are used in the garnish. So at this point, we're going to take a knife and make a cut just to get it prepped up. Just like Chinese cooking, the key with Thai cooking is that you want all your ingredients ready to go. The next ingredient we're talking about are Thai curry paste. I feel like if you like Thai cooking, these should always be in your kitchen. You remember all the ingredients I spoke about? They're all crushed into this fine paste. So any dish you're making, you use this paste and it becomes a little more Thai. In today's stir fry, we're gonna go with the red Thai curry paste. Now, Thai stir fry is similar to a Chinese stir fry, so we're gonna take a wok, get it super hot, and go in with a bit of oil, about a tablespoon for starters. Next, I'm gonna take a bunch of lemongrass. Is this called a bunch? I don't know, whatever this is. So I've just taken a lot of lemongrass, tied it by itself, and I'm gonna let it sizzle away in the oil and release all its natural lemony flavors. Super key ingredient in Thai cooking. And you know what? You get this easily in India. Next ingredient, we can go in with those prawn heads. Now keep in mind, we're not gonna eat either of the lemongrass or the prawn heads. This is just to create a base of flavor for Thai food. Now the prawn heads are where the flavor of the prawn is at. It's got a lot of prawn stock or prawn juices or whatever you want to call it. So you can see that liquid that's formed at the bottom of the wok, that's the flavor we were looking for. So once you get that nice coating at the bottom, you can separate the prawn heads. But keep in mind, you've got to go in with a little more oil because these prawn heads have absorbed almost all the oil we used. But they've done their job. You've got that flavor. So go in with a little more oil, about a tablespoon. And then you can go in with some finely chopped up garlic, just like your regular Indian Chinese cooking. Next, finely chopped up ginger, once again, just like the Indian Chinese cooking. Next, let's go in with those spring onion heads and spring onion necks, once again, for that amped up flavor profile. Remember, it's almost the same as Chinese cooking with just a few differences. Hot wok, all the ingredients together, and at this point you can go in with those chilies. Just like I've sliced up here, or whole chilies if you want your Thai food super spicy. Next step, it's optional, but you can go in with about a tablespoon of that Thai curry paste. I highly recommend you make this a compulsory step. And of course, then you can go in with that fish sauce and palm sugar and vinegar liquid that we created to just bind all the flavors and make this a super Thai style dish. Also, I'm gonna go in with just about another cap of vinegar to deglaze the wok. And at this point, I'm gonna lower the flame and go in with the prawns. Remember, prawns cook very, very fast and they can get overcooked super easily. So on a low flame, just stir fry them for about 2 minutes and your stir fried prawns should be ready. Now, ideally, you should be making prawns of the same size, but hey, it's India and that rarely happens. Either way, prawns are cooked when they just go opaque. So when they just go opaque, put them in a plate. And all this crustedness is flavor. So to release that flavor, I'm gonna go in with a dash of coconut milk, another strong Thai flavor. So that coconut milk is gonna combine with all that residual prawniness and give you this amazing sauce. And I'm gonna go in with just a dash of vinegar, again, combine it with the coconut milk, maybe add a little bit of water to make it a little bit more saucy. And finally, serve up your stir-fried prawns. That coconut sauce, you can either mix it at this stage or place it on the side like how I'm doing here. So you've got Thai flavors in that prawn, and you've got this amazing coconutiness from the coconut sauce. Remember, coconut sauce is one of those things that just brings down the heat in any dish. So if this dish turned out too spicy for you, or too sour, or too salty, you can actually add the coconut sauce to balance it out. So garnish the whole dish with spring onion bodies, as I've done here, maybe a little bit of chili flakes to make it look a little bit pretty, and finally you can go in with white sesame seeds. Because food's fun to eat, but it's also super fun to look at when it looks this good. Now some people might argue that in this stir fry we've used a lot of oil, but keep in mind prawns are low calorie, so the fat macros take care of themselves. And once again, as I've always said, you should keep changing up your protein sources. Don't just rely on chicken or eggs or fish. Try out new things. Different kinds of proteins benefit your body in different ways, and prawns are one of those meats that just make you go, oh yeah.